Hello fellow travelers, my name's SG and welcome to the channel. Today, since it's big news right now, I thought we could do a quick review on the original Steamboat Willie cartoon, along with talk about a brief history of it, and our opinions on how it impacted Disney overall and what it could mean for the creator himself. I thought this was a fun topic to talk about, because like I said, it has been recently known as public domain, which is a very interesting concept, and we will talk about it in a minute. So anyway, let's get started, shall we? Steamboat Willie was created by Walt Disney and his co-creator Ub Iwerks, who acted more as a cartoonist for hire in the situation, so most of the funding went to Walt Disney himself. Now, this project alone cost them a total of $4,000, plus an extra maybe $300 to $400 more for just distribution purposes. The reason this number seemed so high was because they were using an original score, which is something an anime project has never done. Don't get me wrong, anime projects have used music before, but this was the first one that actually went and made its own soundtrack. And not only that, it was able to sync up perfectly with the Mickey Mouse's images, with the images shown and played out on screen. This had never been done before, or had never been perfectly done before, because several years prior we did get several other cartoonists trying to do the same thing, such as the Fleischers and so on and so forth. But Disney was able to do it first in a different kind of sense. In this animation, we get a lot of introductions, a lot of big introductions. The name of the first one would obviously be Mickey. The name the second would be Minnie, and the name of the third would be Pete. Each character would go on to be their own bigger character later on in the future, but this was the start of a larger scale project. For some of you who do not know, Ub Iwerks was one of the original heads of Disney Animation. He created a lot of the original animations we see, and even several of the attractions at the Walt Disney Park. He created the Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, and so on and so forth. And to be fair, this was not even the first time Mickey and Minnie were portrayed on screen. This was just the second time, which was the official. The before were just test footage that they were testing on audiences, and the reception was positive enough that they wanted to go ahead and follow along with this idea. This idea would later follow in the same footsteps as Oswald the Rabbit, our cartoonic rabbit that would get into misadventures. They would still be doing Oswald the Rabbit if it wasn't bought out by another company. But in the end, I think that was a saving grace, because we had Walt Disney learning the full business of this. This is Walt Disney kind of becoming a businessman slash a true creative in his own field. So this is by all means the first Walt Disney project ever created, because it was the first one under the Walt Disney Studios banner. The story in itself is simple, but I think it is a timeless kind of simple. That it is Mickey opening with the Steamboat Willie song that we've all come to know and relate to Disney at this point. And it was him dreaming of running this ship. It's him just going about pretending to actually steer it. And then the real captain of the ship comes in and kind of tosses him out, puts him to do grunt work around the boat, and it just shows the misadventures and little things that keep cropping up, causing for funny circumstances, along with meeting of different characters and how it's portrayed in different ways. It's not an extensive story, but I do think that it does the trick. It shows the characters, it does what their personality is, like who's Pete, who is Mickey, and who is Minnie. And it goes to show like what are we going to expect later on in the future, this similar kind of comedy and this similar type of artwork that we are seeing right now. It's not a story-based project, by no means of the word, but it does introduce us to the characters, and it does tell us their personalities right off the bat, and that's something I can appreciate. The characters, I'm only going to focus on Mickey and Pete because they're the ones that show up more than anybody else in this project. So Mickey, you could tell just by the way he acts and the way his design is, you can tell that he's very excitable. He's very vibrant. He's very doing everything he can to achieve a dream. That he is somebody that has his head in the clouds. You could tell just from the beginning of him just whistling and kind of daydreaming while steering the boat. And you can tell that he takes everything that's given to him at the best he can, in a way that makes sense to him, in a way that's kind of fun at the same time. You can tell that he's a dreamer and a bit of a naive person. And that's what you can get from the characters themselves. Pete, you can tell that he is older than Mickey. You can tell that he's the one in charge by not just his stature and the way he presents himself, but by the way Mickey acts around him. He doesn't respect him, but he's willing to follow the orders because he's the captain. You can tell that Pete has this image of I've been there and done that situation. That you can tell that he is not taking any jokes from Mickey. These two characters, I think, represent a good amount of pretty much stories that followed after, of Mickey being naive and being kind of silly and still going out there and doing his thing, while Pete is just there to either boss Mickey around or kind of just trying to do a my way or the highway situation. Both characters are portrayed very well in this short film. I do enjoy Mickey, and I do think that their personalities really do come out in this situation. The animation is completely in black and white. It would have been different if it was in color, and I don't really think it would have had the same impact. The animation is beautifully done. You could tell that a lot of effort, a lot of attention to detail was added in there. You could tell that there was no scene that went to waste. You could tell that if something's moving, something in the background's moving as well. When the music goes on, it's very to the T. Mickey's moving in a certain way, Pete's moving in a certain way, and that's, I think, the important part of animation, really. That even if they're not speaking, even if they're not having verbal altercations, you can still tell their personality just by the way they present themselves and the way they walk. Like Mickey, you can tell he runs around, he's excitable, he's a little worried, and he's having fun with it. Pete, you can tell he's slower, he's pushing around, you can tell that he has a heavy foot kind of step going, and just from that you could tell who these characters are. I think that's lost nowadays in a lot of ways, just that the way the characters kind of present themselves can tell the whole story in this situation, and that's what the animation does. It doesn't rely on you knowing the characters, nor is it really relying on you to hear what's going on. It's relying on you to use your eyes and actually see, oh, this is happening, Mickey's doing this. And there's a fun bit to that. And just when he's taking care of these farm animals, and even when he's just peeling potatoes, you can tell what he's thinking. That this isn't fun, this is just busy work. You can tell by the angry expression of Mickey that he's just trying to get through this so he can go do something he actually likes, which, as we saw from the beginning, was steering the boat and pretending to be the captain. The music is important, so I will be making a short example of it, because this is one of the more important soundtracks in animation history. Like I said, this is the first time an animated short was actually given its own soundtrack and its own sound. Before, it was classical music or jazz, or it was something doing to an already existing song. This, they actually went the full 9 yards and added their own sound effects, their own music, their own sounds to it. Like, you can understand that when you hear a cow, you can hear a cow. Like, you can see that they're using the animals to actually make the music something unique. It wasn't heard before, and it wasn't something typical. It was something different. It was something new. And it really shaped how Disney would later on treat all of his animations. And that's why we kind of see his different Disney movies with different songs and different versions of different songs. And I think that this is a good basis for that. You can kind of hear it and you can kind of understand, like, this was Walt Disney and his people's very best attempt at trying to create something new and different, and it works. Now, because this was one of the original and oldest animations, there aren't many references made in it that I could note of and that would be known. I'm sure that there are people out there that know, oh, this is a reference to this or that. But I will talk about different stuff that this has been used as a reference. There's The Simpsons. They created an Itchy and Scratchy version of this exact scene in the Itchy and Scratchy movie, which was talking about the history of Itchy and Scratchy, which was pretty funny. You also have Futurama do a quick parody of it using Fry. There's also in Disney stuff that they've done, like video games. Like in Kingdom Hearts 2, you can actually go to a level, I believe it's called Steamboat Willie, and it's based on the older characters, and you get to fight alongside an older looking Goofy and Donald Duck, and even meet the original Mickey Mouse. And to keep to the tone, they even made that Mickey not talk and only react through actions. There are several other ones that I can't name off the top of my head. If you have a few, please leave them down in the comment section. I would like to know more, because I do think this is a funny thing that will keep popping up for at least a little while longer. All in all, I will say Steamboat Willie is very fun. It's a very entertaining, short cartoon. But I can't say I'm not biased, because I have seen it before, and I have seen it a lot since I was little. And it really doesn't get old. You can see where its charm comes in, and you can see how important it really is, actually. After knowing so much about it, you can tell that this was an important part of cartoon history. Whether you like Mickey Mouse, Disney, or any of the other things that they've made, that this is definitely a cornerstone in animation, whether we like to think so or not. This shows how much cartoon animation has changed over the time. They can talk now, but can you say that some of them really have the same personality as this version of Mickey does? Can you say that some cartoons nowadays even have half the effort put into it? You can tell that this was shown because they honestly believed that what they had was going to be something memorable. And you can tell they put all their effort and all their care into it. So much so that they basically almost spent $5,000 on it. And it shows. The animation's smooth, it's fun, and it's vibrant. The characters are interesting, and they don't even need to say anything to be interesting. And it does set up a lot of things that would come in the future, especially with Mickey and Pete, their dynamic and what they would later become. The classic story of a cat versus a mouse. And there's something to that. This is definitely an innocent era for Mickey, and for Walt Disney as a whole. This was right after a long battle with Oswald the Rabbit and their first version of Alice in Wonderland. They lost those battles, but they learned something from it. They grew from it, and they created this, which became an icon of itself. And that just shows how much we can actually struggle, we can fall, and we can be taken advantage of, but we can't let it beat us. Because even now that this is public domain and people might have an issue with Disney, you can't say that it's not made an impact on any of us. Because here we are, talking about it. Here we are cheering that it's public domain, that anybody can take these characters and use them in whatever direction they want now. And I think that it's really just gone full circle, because it was about a creator trying to make himself an up-and-coming, and now it's giving us all a chance to become up-and-comers, to try to do something new and interesting, fun, vibrant, or maybe scary, thrilling, or whatever it is that you want to do with these characters down the line. Whatever it is, I'm glad we have it, and I'm glad to see that it's still making an impression to everyone even now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed making it, and I just wanted to talk about how important this animation was, and how it can even inspire some future independent animators, because there are a lot out there, and a lot of them have really amazing ideas, but just don't know how to put it out there, or how to make it more vibrant, or how to make it make more sense. But with that being said, I will see you guys next time. I'll try to do a couple videos of Dante this week. I couldn't make it this Monday due to my allergies acting up. My voice was all raspy. I couldn't really do it. I hope you come back again this weekend to see. And yeah, see you guys next time. There. Oh, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. See you later. Thank you.